For millennia, humanity has fought a relentless battle against aging. Now that fight may be over. Scientists may have discovered a way to reverse it. But what if the cure comes with a deadly cost? I'm Josh, and on today's episode of the Infographics Show, we'll explore the science and the risks behind aging reversal. We've always thought aging was just our bodies wearing out, like a computer slowly breaking down. It turns out it might not be broken hardware at all. Maybe it's more like software that's gotten corrupted. A Boston lab says they found the backup drive of our cells, an original uncorrupted version stored in our bodies. By flipping a molecular reset switch, they erased up to 57% of biological aging in animal tissue in a matter of weeks. Now the FDA is greenlighting human trials, and they could start as early as April 2026. Your cells may never age the same way again. Harvard biologist Dr. David Sinclair has been studying the information theory of aging, or ITOA, since the 1990s. For years, people thought aging was just DNA getting damaged over time. But ITOA turns that idea on its head. Aging occurs when our cells lose the instructions that tell them how to stay young. All of our cells share the same DNA. That's what makes humans human and flies flies. But cells also carry another set of instructions called epigenetic information. These marks tell cells which genes to turn on or off without changing the DNA itself. They guide a cell to become skin, lung, or any other type. Unlike DNA mutations, epigenetic changes can shift over time, and they can potentially be reversed. They used a kind of biological polish called Yamanaka factors to erase the epigenetic scratches and make the cells young again. These minuscule genetic superheroes can reprogram cells, essentially giving them a fresh start. It's actually less complex than it sounds. Yamanaka factors are 4 specific proteins called OCT4, SOX2, KLF4, and c-Myc. When combined, these proteins have a unique ability to turn regular cells into what are known as induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPSCs. iPSCs can transform into almost any kind of cell in your body. When you introduce all 4 of them into mature cells, they reset the cell's identities back to a more youthful state. The potential of this discovery is truly enormous. iPSCs could be used to generate new tissues or even grow whole organs for transplants. It sounds incredible, but there is a catch, and it is terrifying. Apply too much Yamanaka and a cell can revert all the way back to a blank stem cell with no instructions on what to become. Without guidance, it can quickly spiral out of control, turning into a fast-growing, deadly tumor. The culprit is the c-Myc factor, which promotes cell proliferation and metabolism. This protein is all about encouraging growth, and it's the factor that pushes through the transformation from an original cell into a stem cell. But rapid growth of unprogrammed cells leads to one thing: rapidly accelerating cancer tumors, or tumorigenesis. In a nightmarish turnaround, the cure for aging becomes a recipe for super cancer. And that's exactly what happened when labs first started applying Yamanaka's discovery to animal cells. As Sinclair puts it, other labs had to put in all 4 Yamanaka factors and found that it kills mice and causes tumors. So Sinclair and graduate student Yuancheng Liu decided to try a simple yet overlooked experiment. They decided to exclude the problematic c-Myc factor and experiment using only the other 3. They added an antibiotic safety switch that lets them turn the transformation on or off. They then injected this cocktail into mice that had gone blind from glaucoma. Instead of triggering cancer, the experiment actually reversed the mice's blindness. The next step is humans. The FDA has now quietly approved the first human trials using this method, but they are stressing caution, and for very good reason. That antibiotic safety switch might have worked in mice, but if it fails in humans, the results will be full-body tumors. Sinclair needed a clinical trial design that let them start human testing while keeping the risks as low as possible for FDA approval. They had to find a part of the body where any problems could be safely contained. And just as in Sinclair's original successful experiment, they settled on the eye. On the face of it, the eye does not sound like a low-risk organ to experiment on. Surely, there has to be a less important part of the body, like the skin on your toe. There are very good medical reasons for the FDA and Life Biosciences, Sinclair's company, to pick the eye. The eye is a contained biological blast chamber. It has limited immune surveillance. The immune system doesn't focus on it as much as it does on organs like the lungs, and that makes treatments like Sinclair's gene therapy much less likely to trigger any harmful inflammation. You can also inject gene therapies directly into the vitreous humor, the gel-like substance filling the back of the eye. This minimizes the risks of adverse effects on other parts of the body. The eye is also easy to monitor with non-invasive imaging. Scientists can track treatment effects quickly and accurately. Diseases like glaucoma cause permanent vision loss, and there are no regenerative treatments yet, making the eye a prime candidate for this kind of therapy. If these trials are a success, humans could add years or even decades to their lives. That means you'll want some quality entertainment to fill in that extra time, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe because you're gonna be around for a while. Life Biosciences' human trial of their formula called ER100 begins in early 2026. This isn't just any old medical trial for a new treatment. The stakes could be much higher. If the patient's optic nerves de-age and their vision returns, the biological clock is officially broken. The consequences for human existence could be immeasurable. The World Health Organization estimates that there are 2.2 billion people on the planet suffering from vision impairment. 1 billion of those suffer from conditions that are preventable or haven't been treated because they don't have access to basic care. ER100 could restore sight to millions across the world, especially those who need it most. And that's just the start of it. The Life Bioscience team believes their technology could have the potential applications for hearing loss, liver disease, lung disease, muscle atrophy, neurodegenerative conditions, and more. And of course, there is the Holy Grail, reversing aging entirely. In the US, the average lifespan is currently around 79 years. Other developed nations like Japan, Switzerland, Germany, and Australia live on average into their mid-80s, while less developed nations range from 64 to 76. Imagine that average lifespan shoots up to 150 as a result of ER100's age reversal effects. Who wouldn't want to live on twice as long, especially if your body could be rejuvenated at the push of a button, or more accurately with a simple gene therapy injection? That dream of working until retirement at 60 or 65 would be shattered. With an average lifespan of 150, people would likely have to work until well over the age of 100. Traditional retirement at 65 would simply become unsustainable, and the ever older working population would need career breaks, continuous education, and lifelong learning just to stay relevant. The planet's already suffering from extreme and increasing wealth inequality. Older generations typically accumulate more capital and control over resources than the younger generations. Most of the world already faces a demographic crisis due to critically low birth rates. The Lancet Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation projects that global fertility rates will continue to drop. Western Europe's total fertility rate is expected to fall to 1.37 by 2100. That is way below the rate of 2.1 needed to sustain a population size. As the global population ages and birth rates decline, age-related inequality starts to grow fast. In 1989, elderly households had 3.8 times the median wealth of households with children. By 2013, that ratio reached 12.5 times. This disparity would only be turbocharged by doubling the average age, limiting economic mobility for younger people. There's also the healthcare considerations. What if the anti-aging technology keeps people alive for longer, but it doesn't reduce the underlying diseases that come with old age? Societies could face decades of frailty and chronic illness, placing a massive burden on governments and younger generations to pay for the skyrocketing healthcare costs. Sinclair claims that age reversal will be confirmed or not in 2026. Since new treatments usually spend years in human trials, it's hard to feel confident that long-term safety is a top priority. How exactly do they intend to figure out the long-term safety of ER100 within a single year? It's not clear. Ultimately, it seems clear that Sinclair's technology holds great potential for solving one of humankind's most enduring challenges. It would be foolish not to explore it. But just as we see with AI, nobody seems to have thought through the consequences before starting to roll it out. The quest for immortality or something close to it, plus the untold billions in profits that ER100 could unlock, seems to be talking much louder. And that is a terrifying prospect for the rest of us, especially when the research is being done by as controversial a figure as Sinclair. While he has many admirers and appears to have plenty of funding, many others in the field are far less convinced about his theory, his work, and his accomplishments. In February 2024, Animal Biosciences, a company he co-founded, claimed that a dog supplement reversed aging. Scientists like Nir Barzilai and Matt Kaberlein criticized the claim as premature and commercially driven, with Kaberlein calling Sinclair a snake oil salesman. A number of scientists resigned from the Academy for Health and Lifespan Research in protest, leading to Sinclair stepping down as president in March 2024. As a result of this and other controversies, many in the scientific community have urged caution with regard to his work, emphasizing the need for rigorous validation and ethical communication. The ER100 trials for many raise more uncomfortable questions than exciting answers. The bottom line is that whether we like it or not, a world beyond aging seems to be approaching like a high-speed train, and we are tied to the tracks. But what happens if you outlive everyone you know and everything you thought mattered? Find out in This Is What the Last Person on Earth Should Worry About, and it's not food. Or click on this video instead.